Behind the calculator app on my wife's phone, I found another whole life, 24 years of marriage, hidden behind a 4-digit lock. She met him on Hinge while I slept 8 feet down the hall. Our own daughter found out before a single lawyer did. And what my girl did to her mother still stops me cold. That calculator on her phone was never a calculator. You tap in a code, and a second hidden phone opens up inside it. A whole separate life, sitting behind a fake little math app. They sell it as a vault, a place to lock away private photos. She used it to lock away a man from the husband asleep beside her. The part that still turns my stomach is this one. I had her passcode for almost 20 years. I could have opened that phone any morning I wanted to. I never once thought to do the math on a calculator. The best hiding place is the one too plain to ever suspect. I am 49 and I have laid commercial floors for half my life. I read a room by the cracks running under the tile, but I could not read the woman sleeping right next to me. We own our house here in Nevada, free and clear, no mortgage at all. 24 years of double shifts paid that place off to the last dollar. We raised one daughter inside those walls, and she is 23 now. She has her mother's eyes and, thank God, her father's spine. She put herself through nursing school, working nights, and double shifts. That girl is the best thing the two of us ever made together, which is what makes the next part so hard to say out loud. Because her mother did not just betray me, she gambled with our girl too. She got engaged this spring, and that wedding was our whole world. Remember that wedding, because it is exactly where all of this lands. But the crack showed up months before I understood a single one. The first crack was the fighting, and it came out of nowhere. My wife started picking fights over nothing at all. A coffee cup left in the sink became a federal case. The wrong tone at dinner turned into 3 days of silence. She blew up over the wedding budget, then over how I chewed. I kept asking what I did wrong, and she kept saying nothing. A woman who fights you over a cup is angry about something bigger. She was not really mad at me, though I did not know that yet. She was mad that I was still standing there at all. I was the wall between her and the life she was already living. Then came the second crack, and this one I felt in my chest. She stopped sleeping with me. Not a slow fade, not a dry spell. She just stopped one night, 24 years, and the door on her side of our bed swung shut. She took her pillow to the couch and blamed it on her back. A man knows the difference between a sore back and a cold shoulder. So I told myself a comfortable story, like a fool with a paid-off house. I told myself it was her age, or her job, or the stress of the wedding. I handed that woman every excuse I could not hand myself. One night she came home near midnight smelling of someone else's bar. She swore the office girls had dragged her out for one quick drink. I called one of those girls that same week, just to settle it. She had no idea what night my wife was even talking about. That was the first lie I caught clean, and it would not be the last. For months I chose the comfortable lie over the ugly question. Then the third crack opened, and this one I could see in the mirror. She started dressing for the office like she was dressing for a date. New clothes showed up, and the good perfume came back out of the drawer. She spent an hour at the mirror for a quiet desk job selling insurance. Nobody in that little office dressed the way she suddenly dressed. One afternoon, I found a receipt for a dress I had never once seen. I asked her plainly who she was getting so pretty for. She laughed, said herself, and turned her back to me in the glass. And I let it go, because a man hates the answer he already smells. That was my mistake, and I owned it later, but not yet. This is the point where my daughter walked straight into the story. My girl started noticing the things I kept explaining away. She came to me one evening looking like she had seen a ghost. She said her mother was acting strange about her phone. She said her mom had started carrying it into the bathroom. She said the screen flipped face down the second anyone walked in. I asked her if she was certain, and she just looked at me. My daughter caught the one thing I had missed for months. A few nights earlier, she walked in on her mother mid-call. Her mom went quiet, stood up, and carried the call out to the garage. That is the exact moment it cracked open for my daughter, because her whole life, her mother talked on the phone in front of her. Loud, open, nothing to hide, the way honest people talk. A woman who suddenly needs the garage is hiding the other voice. My daughter looked at me and asked if Dad already knew, and I had to tell my girl that Dad had a bad feeling too. But a hunch is not evidence, and I do not act on a hunch alone. So we sat down in the kitchen and said the quiet part out loud. We both agreed something was wrong, and we agreed to find out for sure. That was the night I stopped making excuses and started keeping notes. What I did next, I am not proud of every piece of it. I hired a private investigator the very next week. I found him through a buddy at the Union Hall and paid $2,000 up front. I told him I needed the truth, plain, no matter what it cost me. He told me these things almost always take a week or two to surface, so I gave him room to work, and I went quiet and patient at home. And while he worked, I finally did one quiet thing myself. I lifted my wife's phone while she was in the shower. I had held that phone 1,000 times and seen nothing wrong, but this time I noticed she had 2 calculator apps, not one. Who keeps 2 calculators on a phone they barely do math on? So I opened the second one and it asked me for a code. I tried the 4 digits she used for everything we owned, and that fake little calculator swung open like a trap door. What I found behind it knocked the wind clean out of me. A second inbox, a second photo roll, a second whole woman, and sitting right at the top of it was a dating app called Hinge. There she was, my wife of 24 years, listed as single, her age shaved down by 6 years, her wedding ring out of every photo. The messages went back 4 months, and I read every one. He called her his girl, and she called him her future. Every line I scrolled put another year of my marriage in the ground. What I did not do is the most important part of all. I did not scream, and I did not hurl that phone through the window. I set it back exactly where she had it, screen down, still warm. The instant a cheater feels you watching, the truth vanishes. The phone gets wiped, the story gets rehearsed, and the money walks. Lying there in the dark, I decided exactly one thing. I would take that hidden life apart, one quiet move at a time. So I wished her a good night, and I meant none of it. Her whole future sat in a fake app on the nightstand beside us. A patient man is the most dangerous thing in a cheater's house. I wanted her at ease, right until the day ease could not save her. So I closed that calculator and acted like I had never found it. Then the investigator called, and he did not come back with one man. He came back with 2. Then came the name that stopped my heart. The first was a fellow from her office, and that one had fizzled out. A handful of lunches, nothing that ever left the parking lot. But the main one, the one she was burning it all down for, was the Hinge Beau, a divorced guy she met on that app, all charm and cheap cologne. He sold cars at a lot out on the highway, or so the profile claimed. He posted photos in front of boats that were never once his. He told my wife he had never felt this way about anyone alive. He had typed those same words to 3 other women that month, but she read them like scripture because she wanted them to be true. He drove a leased sports car and rented a condo he could barely cover. The sort of guy who looks like a vacation and lives like a stack of bills. The investigator pulled the Beau's history while he was at it. 2 divorces behind him and a row of women on that same app. My wife was not his great romance. She was this month's appointment. She just did not know it yet, and I was in no rush to tell her. The man was a rerun, and she thought she had found a brand new movie. My wife was torching a paid-off house for this clown with a car payment. The audacity of that woman still floors me to this day. This was where I made myself stop and think instead of swing. I had the proof, and proof is a loaded gun in an angry hand. Every part of me wanted to drop it on the table and watch her face fall. I did not do that, and I will tell you exactly why. I quietly lined up a divorce attorney before I breathed a word. I called her office one quiet morning, and she fit me in that week. She charged $350 for that first hour and earned it inside 10 minutes. She had practiced divorce law in this corner of Nevada for 20 years. Before I got rolling, she stopped me and asked what I really wanted. I gave her the flat truth that I wanted out, and I wanted it quiet. Then she told me the part about Nevada that I did not see coming. She said, "This is a community property state and a no-fault one." She said the law splits what a couple builds right down the middle. And here is the part that stung worse than the affair itself. The judge does not care that she cheated, not when it comes to the money. Her running around does not hand me one extra dollar of that house. I asked her straight whether the cheating changed a single thing. She said no, not to the house, and not the way the barstool lawyers think. The house we own free and clear is community, so it splits even. 24 years of my knees on concrete, and she walks with half. I asked my lawyer if there was any door at all to her share. She said there was one, narrow and costly, and rarely worth the war. If I traced marriage money she spent on the Beau, I might claw some back, but that meant a year of fighting over hotel bills and dinner tabs. I told her to drop it because my peace was worth more than the cash. That was a hard one to take, and I swallowed the whole thing anyway. Then she told me the harder part, and I made myself hear it too. She said, after this many years married, my wife could ask for support. Not for the affair and not as any reward, just because the years are real. She said the court looks at age, at health, at what each side can earn. But then my attorney gave me the piece that finally let me breathe. She said a calm, organized husband is the most dangerous man in that room. She said the spouse who keeps records and keeps quiet wins the long game. She handed me a few quiet plays, and not one of them was loud. One move mattered more than all the rest. She had me stay silent until every last paper was filed. A served spouse fights you, she said, but a surprised one folds. So I built the entire case while my wife still thought she was winning. The quietest month of my life turned out to be the most productive one. She had me set up a paycheck account under my name alone from then on. Not to hide a nickel, she said, but to draw one clean line on paper. She wanted it all written down and every page handed over in discovery. I was to keep paying every bill I already covered right on time. One rule she hammered into me harder than the rest, and she told me, no matter what, to leave that house alone. Do not change a lock. Do not toss a bag of her clothes on the lawn. The day you play the villain is the day the judge stops seeing the truth. That one line saved me from myself more nights than I can count. My hands itched to change every lock the second she left for work. But a locked out wife is a sympathetic wife in front of a judge. So I let her house key hang right where it always hung and let the law work. Revenge that holds up in court does not look like revenge at all. So I did the boring, patient paperwork version of revenge. Then the calendar became my sharpest weapon yet. My daughter's engagement party was just 3 weeks out. The whole family would be packed in one room, smiling for the camera. I was not about to blow up my girl's night to settle a score. So I waited, and I let my wife play the happy mother of the bride. But my daughter, it turned out, was running her own quiet math. She had kept watching her mother long after she first came to me, and one afternoon she asked to borrow her mom's phone to call a vendor. Her mother went white and would not hand it over. not even to her. That was the last brick for my girl, and she came straight to me. This time I did not explain it away, and I did not shield her from it. I told my daughter the truth, all of it, the app and the Beau and the rest. I watched a piece of her childhood close quietly behind her eyes. What my girl did next, I never would have asked of her. She did not slam a door, and she did not scream down the hall. She walked to her room and sat on the bed in total silence. She stayed in there an hour and came out with her mind made up. There is a kind of calm that frightens you worse than any shouting. She did not cry the way I braced for her to cry. She got very still, the exact way her old man gets still. And then she said one sentence I will carry to my grave. She said her mother would not be getting an invitation to the wedding. One part of that decision broke me. I told her she did not have to decide a thing like that in anger. She said it was not anger. It was arithmetic, the same as mine. A child should never have to do that kind of math on a parent. But her mother handed her the numbers, one hidden call at a time. Then the day finally came, and I made my one and only move. My wife headed off to a girls' weekend she had been planning for a month. With her away, I did not torch a thing or carry off what was not mine. I grabbed a single bag of clothes, my tools, and my truck keys. I signed a short lease on a small place 20 minutes out, $1,800 down. I left every stick of furniture and every dish exactly in place. And this is what that woman came home to: a closet stripped bare on my side and a stack of papers on the counter. She rang my phone 11 times over before she finally quit. I picked up exactly once because she had earned one sentence from me. I said it was over. The papers were filed and she could call my lawyer. Then I wished her good night, and that was the last word she got. Then came the consequence I never had to lift a finger to cause. She learned the house would split, but split is not the same as keep. She learned her boyfriend had a question he had never bothered to ask, because once the dust kicked up, the Hinge Beau finally asked if she was married. And the second she told that man the truth, he was gone. He did not want a divorce, a stepkid's wedding, or half of anybody's house. He wanted a single woman 6 years younger, and that was never her. Her whole world came apart faster than she could believe. I heard later that he blocked her number inside of a week. The exact trick she pulled on me pulled right back on her. No husband, no boyfriend, and a daughter who would not pick up. The whole house of cards she built came down in a single month. A life that took 24 years to build, gone in 30 days. She threw away 24 years for a man who lasted right up to the truth. The pure nerve of trading a paid-off life for a stranger with a leased car. Then came the part no judge could ever undo. But the part that actually ended her was never the money or the man. It was the wedding, the one we had all been living for. My daughter held her line, and her mother was not in that room. She watched her own girl get married through a cousin's phone from her car. That is the one bill no judge in Nevada could ever hand down. You can split a house even, and she did walk out with her half, but you cannot split a daughter down the middle. And that girl chose her father's quiet over her mother's lie. So to my brother, and to everyone lining up to call me cold, I did not scream at that woman, and I never put a hand on anybody. I never carried off one item that did not belong to me. I found the truth behind a calculator and from a man I paid to look. I said it to her a single time, the way a grown man should. Then I shut the door she kept propping open. The one thing I got right was staying quiet and letting the truth float up. I kept my house at half, my name clean, and my daughter at my side. And I kept the one thing she gambled away for a stranger on an app, my peace. Well, in my opinion, a person who hides a whole life behind a fake app is not bored. That kind of hiding takes real work, and the work tells you it was no accident. After hearing so many of these stories, I will give you the one hard rule: A calm spouse with a folder of receipts beats a loud one with a grudge. So watch the quiet changes, guard what is yours, and let the lawyer shout. See you in the next one.